Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another bite-sized review, I guess. This is another TV episode review. This is from SpongeBob SquarePants, which you may or may not have heard of. And this is one of the creepier episodes, which I wanted to cover because SpongeBob doesn't have a lot of creepy, scary, dark episodes, which is either a good or a bad thing. It depends on what you prefer. But since we're in October right now, at least at the time of this video, I wanted to do a scarier episode. This is one of my favorites. This is called Rock Bottom, and this is from Season 1, Episode 14. So, it is one of the earlier ones, and this aired in 2000. And basically, it's pretty simple. SpongeBob and Patrick are at Glove World. Basically, they go on a bus, and the bus... That's this funny thing where this episode is mostly creepy, mostly scary, but there's also some really funny parts, which I'll get into. And this does run about 10 minutes, 11 minutes, kind of a standard SpongeBob episode length. And so they get on the bus, they're at Glove World, and they're done. So SpongeBob and Patrick go on this red bus, and the bus driver asks for the fee to go on the bus, and it's 50 cents. And so SpongeBob tries to get out his wallet, and he keeps whacking the bus driver with his glove balloon, and it happens like 4 or 5 times, and just like, sit down, that's enough, fine, just take your seats. And then they take their seats, and so they kind of mess around with their merchandise that they bought. So I think SpongeBob bought some glove candy, and he bought a flashlight. He plays around with that. And then Patrick has this Glove World action figure, which is just silly. And so after that, Patrick notices out the window that there's a sign outside, and they're passing it, and it says, "You are now in leaving Bikini Bottom." And it's funny because it's not really said right. And then Patrick's like, SpongeBob, what does that sign mean? And then he's like, what? And then he's like, it says, "You are now leaving Bikini Bottom." And SpongeBob freaks out. He's like, wait, what? And so there's another sign, and I forget what it says. There's another sign, and it doesn't help. And so the bus kind of plummets down into this like very straight down kind of drop area. And so they get hurtled on the bottom of the bus, and so they get off of that, and then they get out, and it's just like this dark, creepy, eerie, weird place. And so they get out, and there's a sign, and it says Rock Bottom. And so SpongeBob doesn't recognize it. He's like, what is this? I've never been here before. And both of them are instantly terrified because they see all these monsters and creepy creatures and just weird things outside. So they try to get in the bus, but the bus driver leaves as he takes off. So now they're stranded there. And so the whole episode is basically Patrick and SpongeBob trying to get back to Bikini Bottom, back to their neighborhood. I believe it's called Conch Street. Conch Street. Sorry, I couldn't say that for a minute. And so, yeah, they try to leave, and then Patrick gets afraid because he can't recognize the bathrooms, and they're, like, flipped around, so you can't tell which gender is which. And so, even funnier is the people that come out of the restaurant, or not the restaurant, the restrooms are these creepy, evil creatures that are just nightmare fuel. And they just start walking out of the bathroom one by one, and you don't really know what gender these things are, and it's kind of funny. It's a really funny thing. And then SpongeBob's like, I don't recognize, and then Patrick's like, I don't recognize those, it's just like this funny thing where they don't recognize any of the creatures in there. And so after that, Patrick somehow gets a bus out of there, and so Patrick is out of the episode after a little while. And so SpongeBob is there by himself, and Patrick is just gone. And so he's there by himself, and SpongeBob goes to the bus stop, and he tries to get a bus, and the funny thing is, the bus seems to be avoiding him on purpose. And that's like a running joke, is the bus always leaves before SpongeBob can get to it. And it's just like this funny thing. another funny gag. And so that's happening. And so he goes to the, what is it called? Like the waiting station, I guess, or the bus, the place where you get the tickets to get the place where you get tickets to go on the bus, I believe. And so, or I guess the waiting times, that loading area, whatever it's called, I don't know the name of it, but SpongeBob goes to there, and he demands that he get, you know, a bus back to Bikini Bottom. And so it's funny because all these monsters are there, and so they're very intimidating. And so SpongeBob ends up being the 327th person waiting in line to talk to the front desk person. And it's just funny because there's all these random monsters, and they're just weird, like strange, but it's meant to be funny, and it is. And so yeah, SpongeBob just gets so upset he starts cursing, and he's just upset and frustrated at this point. And so he finally, after waiting for hours, he finally gets to the front of the desk, and it turns out that they speak the strange language where they always blow a raspberry after every sentence. So kind of like that. It's really stupid. It sounds dumb, but it's pretty funny, because it's just so random. And so SpongeBob, they don't understand SpongeBob's accent until he starts to speak like them, and he wants a bus out of here. So another funny part is the dude that's working there has this one eye, and he has this pretty funny voice. And so he tells SpongeBob that the next bus is about to leave in 5 seconds. And then the bus, you can hear the bus noise in the background, and SpongeBob just gets furious. And then the guy's like, well, I'm out of here. Good night. And then he's stuck alone in this dark place with no one. And it's very creepy. It becomes very creepy very fast. And so SpongeBob just wanders. He wanders kind of nowhere. This place is in the middle of nowhere, so he just wanders back to the, I guess, way he came by the sign. And so he sees this I'm trying to remember what happened. He sees a red creature, and he's very strange. And so his balloon, I believe his balloon flies away. And so this dude tries to go after it, and SpongeBob tries to chase after him. And so after that, let's see. After that, nothing really happens that's too interesting. It's just more creepiness. And then after that, SpongeBob loses his balloon. The guy is gone. And so he goes to the bus stop, and he's like, I am not leaving the spot. I'm not leaving until I get my bus home. And so there happens to be a candy machine, a candy machine right across from the bus stop. And so SpongeBob's hungry. He's been there for probably hours at this point, or maybe even a day. It's not really like clear. Anyway, his balloon's gone. All of his stuff is gone. So he tries to, before he goes to the machine, he tries to make light of the subject, as you could say, by turning on his flashlight. That works for about 3 seconds. Then it goes out. And then he's really hungry, so he gets out his glove candy and he spits it out. He's like, ugh, it's glove flavored. And so he wants to have some real food. And so he sees the machine, and he tries to get a candy bar. But the funny part is, this is the funniest part in my opinion. When SpongeBob tries to go over to the machine, the bus goes as soon as he leaves the stop. So it's funny. It's like the most funniest thing, and I still crack up. I've seen this episode plenty of times, and it still makes me laugh. Because it's just funny slapstick, just so silly. And the way the bus is animated, it makes it really silly, which is funny. And so SpongeBob tries to get a, what is it? What does he call it? I think it's a kelp crunch? Chocolate kelp nougat, nougat kelp crunch, or a kelp nougat crunch. It's one of those three. Anyway, he tries to get a crunch bar, basically. And so it's so slow. It takes forever. And then SpongeBob puts his, he puts his hand inside of the machine, and the bus shows up. As he puts his hand in the machine, the bus shows up in the background, and it's so animated. It's like so silly and goofy. And so he puts his hand in and out, in and out, in and out, almost like, like kind of that motion. And he puts his hand in and out and in and out. And what's funnier is that when he puts his hand in, the bus noises start to show up, and it's almost like he's making the bus alive. It's just so stupid, but it works because it's SpongeBob. And so he almost gets his bar, but he tries to trick the bus by using a cutout. He tries to shapeshift into the bench on the by the bus stop, and it's really funny. And so he tries all these things to get the bus to show up and for him to get in there. But the funniest part is at the end of this, the bus shows up like 500 times, and he never gets in it. And then at the very end, he gets so angry and he curses again. Obviously not real cursing, because it's a kid's show, of course. But he curses tartar sauce. And then what's funnier is that his kelp bar just is stuck in the machine. And so while SpongeBob's over there at the bus stop, he gets so angry. And then this random dude just shows up. And I believe it's the same guy that was running the ticket booth, or whatever that's called, the bus ticket thing, the line that SpongeBob was in earlier. So the dude walks up, he grabs his crunch bar and just leaves. Wow, what a jerk. And so after that fiasco, so that's my favorite part of the episode, that whole thing with the bus and the machine. The machine is, all of that is really brilliant and really funny, and it's a meme. The whole episode is a meme, basically. But anyway, after that, SpongeBob hears a raspberry again, and it's kind of creepier, and so he begins to run away, back where he came from, back where he got dropped off at the beginning. And so he runs, and it gets creepier and creepier, and these footsteps start showing up, and it's like there's a ghost or something. And so he runs all the way into the wall, and so suddenly this red glow appears, and it's the same dude who stole his balloon. And he's suddenly here, and then the interesting part is that the dude ties SpongeBob's balloon to his hand, and then SpongeBob slowly begins to float up. And then the dude is just like silent, and then SpongeBob finally gets it. He's like, oh, he's trying to help me. It's not a scary thing. And then he begins to float all the way up back to Bikini Bottom. And then so SpongeBob's like, thanks. And then the dude, after saying nothing the whole episode, he finally says, you're welcome. Just like this kind of, little thing. I like that. And then SpongeBob finally floats all the way up back to his street, back to his house, back to the neighborhood. And so that's pretty much how it ends. And then one more funny thing happens. So Patrick shows up in another bus, and he's like, don't worry, SpongeBob, I'm coming to save you. And that's how the episode ends. And I think it's great. There's nothing wrong with this episode. I have no complaints. I've seen it so many times. It's a great Halloween episode, basically, because it's one of the few times that the SpongeBob series has gone kind of dark, kind of creepy, which I like. I mean, I love SpongeBob and all the happy stuff, but it's nice that we get kind of a darker episode, kind of more unsettling, more creepy, which I like. And so, yeah, Rock Bottom, solid episode. I think this is the only time that it appears in the series, although it's been seen in other, like, SpongeBob media. It's never been seen in the series pretty much since this episode. I think it's maybe in a couple more episodes later in the series, but yeah, this is really its only big focus, which I think is fine. And I think it's great. I love the comedy. Again, the part with the vending machine is my favorite part. And the fact that the buses keep leaving, I think it's funny. It's just like he can't get away from the bus leaving him. So I think that's great. And so, yeah, Patrick is here. I like his scenes. He's not here for a lot, but I think he does a great job. I like the design of all the creatures, the design of Rock Bottom. It's very creepy, very cool looking. And yeah, that's really all I have to say. I think it's a fantastic episode. One of the great episodes of SpongeBob. It's a 10. I have nothing really bad to say. So anyway, have you seen Rock Bottom? What do you think about it? Do you think it's one of the better episodes? Do you think it's a bad one? Let me know. And I will see you for the next episode review, which will be pretty soon. And then, yeah, I'll see you then. Take care. Have a great day. And don't get stuck in rock bottom, whatever you do.